I haven't got time to mark this motherfucker. Here we go again. We can't hear anybody. Nobody can talk to anybody.
You guessed it, Pressure Points with your two favorite hosts. I'm Sleepy D, and this is Class Action AJ. We're coming at you with Season 7, Episode 2, Love Conquers Ecosystems. Based on the title, I'm sure you've got a pretty good idea about what's about to happen. Find us on Instagram, Patreon, and our website, pointsopressure.com. Get ready. Let's do it.
Well, turn the fucking thing off, you dumbass.
I'm feeling the sleepies too today.
Yeah, man.
This whole weekend, as we were talking before, went by in a flash. And I've got the busiest next 2 days of my life. Tomorrow's graduation. The next day I take the test, but I have to drive to another state to do it.
Jesus, where do you have to go?
Boise.
God
I'm
damn.
I'm going to be in Boise on Tuesday.
Pressure Points visits Boise.
Yeah.
On Tuesday.
Ugh.
Damn.
Ugh. But it was the soonest test. I'd rather drive to Boise than take it in like February 5th.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know?
That's fair.
Oh, it's almost there. So
yeah.
I haven't been
almost
sleeping. I'm
almost
so
out of
stressed.
the fucking weeds.
And last night I had this horrible experience. So I got into bed. I fell asleep. I woke up and my back was itchy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm laying on my back. So, you know, I'm trying to reach it with my right arm. I'm like, I can't quite get there. So I kind of lift my body up onto my shoulders and neck. You know how you kind of do that when you're laying down? You just kind of arch your back a little bit?
Yeah.
So I'm like,
pop.
So I'm itching and I feel a pop. And I'm like, oh, I got the spot. And it kind of goes pop. And then it felt like hot water. And then it felt like fire going down the side of my neck.
What the fuck?
Down into my arm.
Okay.
And my parents would know that I've had an experience similar to this once before in my life. So this is going to be a little background on AJ, just to start off the episode. When I was young, when I was a child, I don't know, like 12, I woke up after I had a lot of ear problems growing up, a lot of tubes, got sick a lot, still get sick a good amount. And I woke up after I was sick the whole week, ear infection probably.
Yeah.
And I just woke up one morning and it was so much worse. And it was almost the same pain, almost like steel rope down the side of my neck and into my arm, and I couldn't move my arm.
Uh-huh.
And after crying through a shower, I found this huge lump on the back of my neck.
The fuck?
And we went to the ER. It was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Basically, the ear infection had left the ear and was slowly trying to make its way into my brain.
Jesus.
So, like, it was like just moving around, and it was near the muscles, and it was just fucking up my neck. And I got a shot in the neck, which was badass, and, you know, ultimately totally fine. But since then, whenever I get super stressed, that side on my neck muscle, the tension just causes problems. A couple of years ago, I was doing a super early shift at my work. I was decorating cakes. And I woke up one morning, and there was a ball there in the same spot.
Oh, Jesus.
But it was actually I had torn a muscle in my sleep from stressing about the job.
God damn.
Because I also have TMJ.
So this is the same thing.
So at that point, they put me on muscle relaxers, and that was amazing.
Yeah.
But for obvious reasons, I haven't gone back to the doctor for this when it comes up, because those muscle relaxers were amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think so when I was itching, I just put too much tension on that muscle, and it hurts like a bitch still. But it's like, as long as I don't move my head that way too much, I'm good.
Ouch.
So
fuck that.
Yeah, so that pain, that release was what made you finally able to fall asleep last night.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I didn't fall asleep until fucking early hours of the morning. Yeah, it's just been a stressful couple of weeks.
Farming hours.
Yeah, for real. I was waking up I was going to sleep as everyone else was fucking waking up. It was bad. But the stress will be done for both of us, hopefully soon enough.
Hopefully this week. Oh yeah, and my car's in the shop.
Yeah.
So that fucking sucks too. But you know, when it rains, it pours. You know,
the last half of January, man.
Woo!
Looking
forward to both of us getting a pay raise in the next couple of weeks.
Hey,
right?
Here's fucking hoping.
Here's to hope.
I'm not gonna count my pennies yet.
I will,
but I hope. Yeah. So we're just gonna jump straight into the episode. I kind of just want to get this one done.
and my dick stopped working. No, I'm just kidding.
That's okay.
That's fine. I didn't use it anyway.
Figured out. There are pills for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's been on my radar for a little bit. It's never felt like something I could really make into an episode, but it also felt like something I could make into an episode. I couldn't, like, when I initially found it, like 2 years ago, I was like, I just could not fucking find sources at all.
Oh, that is a pain in the ass. Before we get too far, pointsofpressure.com, shop.pointsofpressure.com, Points of Pressure on Instagram, and just Pressure Points on Reddit. Okay, continue.
Yeah, go find all those.
Go to those. Click around for about 5 minutes or so.
Yeah,
then that's your daily chore.
I think it's like 60 seconds on those. It counts as like activity on the page or some shit.
Perfect.
There's some weird thing with
60
it,
seconds on each place.
Yeah.
Tell your friends. Bully your friends.
Yeah, bully your friends into doing it. But yeah, it's always been kind of a trip trying to find fucking sources and shit for this whole thing. And even with the sources that I found, it's still like, yeah, like I believe it. I'm wholeheartedly in on this one, but it has some disputes that we'll get into.
There's always going to be disputes. Did the Holocaust happen? I'm just kidding.
God,
I'm just kidding. Oh God.
So we're gonna go back to 1732. In Britain,
Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Okay,
Is that the year?
No.
Oh, okay.
So Warren Hastings is born to a reverend, and during childbirth, his mother dies. Now,
as is tradition for the time period.
Yeah, for real. Now, the Hastings family has a family manor and lordship that goes back like 400 years.
Dang.
So this is like he's born into a fucking
he's set
pretty well off family. The only problem is he's born 17 years late. About 17 years before Warren was born, the family invested way too heavily into a king that just fucked it all up.
Ooh.
And blew everything. They literally just lost like their entire wealth.
Oh shit.
So within 20 years of 400-year-old like lordship and family manor, it's just plagued and destroyed and disappears.
Gets blown.
Yeah.
It was all on slots.
Yeah, absolutely fucking shorted.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, his dad isn't terribly present as a kid, because he's working and he's a reverend, so he's a busy dude. So Warren is mainly raised by his grandfather, and he goes to school with the Poors. And I mean,
so his grandfather was like, I remember the glory days.
Oh yeah, like
the whole childhood. Can you imagine being raised by a grandfather who's like, oh, I remember back in the day, you would have gone to the best school, worn the best clothes, eat the best food,
and Warren's
and now
like,
look at you.
Yeah, now I'm broke and eating the same thing as the people across the pond,
gruel.
Potatoes.
Yeah, potatoes.
So as years go by, Warren manages to kind of like still play off of his name, the Hastings name.
Yeah, there's still some reputation.
Yeah, his uncle gets him into like a prestigious college, where he makes connections with like future politicians and dukes. He works with like a bunch of like future really huge poets and shit.
Like Queen Elizabeth. He probably went to school with her.
Yeah. She was alive then.
Yeah.
She's been alive for like...
She's been alive forever.
Well, I mean, not the last couple of years. But before that, she was alive for forever. So yeah, he manages to kind of weed his way out of the slums, and he gets in with the right people, and he ends up working with the British East India Company.
Okay, so he Fable 2's it. If you're an avid Fable 2 fan, you'll understand the reference. So yeah.
And he sails away to India. And I mean, he's a smart kid. It's not like his uncle gets in and gets his foot in the door and he's just a total like fucking idiot. Like his uncle went out of his way to make sure that Warren had a chance because Warren was a smart kid. He had a good head on his shoulders, and he dies that. No, I'm just kidding.
And then he's dead.
So yeah, Warren sails out to India, and I think it ended up being like around the time it took like 6 months to get from Britain to India, and so during that time he learns 2 of the local languages. And he was hired on as like a clerk with the East India Company, sorry, not trading company, but, yeah, so he works as a clerk. He keeps the numbers fucking mint, and slowly like works his way up within this company. Gets to know everybody on the ship that he's on. And I mean, he's doing pretty well for himself. And he ends up getting promoted and shifted to focus on like one trading post in Bengal. Now, tensions are high there because, I mean, the British occupy the area. They're fucking doing their best to colonize the area. And in about 100 years, it turns into like massive fucking wars that go on, of which I would like to do full episodes on, because like,
dude, I love colonial episodes. They're all good.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like
it's new history.
Yeah, I feel like for a lot of people, likely in Europe or in Britain, they know a lot about this, about like Britain in India and their occupation and their colonizing, but like in the U.S., we don't fucking learn anything.
We
about
don't.
it.
We
We're
don't
like,
learn
oh, yeah,
anything about that.
British in India.
We learned the
typical.
Brits had a huge empire, and then they lost it. That's all we know. That's literally what we're taught in school.
Same with like France and everything too.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued, and hopefully down the line I'll dive into that, and it'll be my focus after.
I had to learn it from video games.
Right. But yeah, hopefully I'll pour my focus into that once I finish the Butchers of Bosnia series.
That'll never be done.
Yeah, fucking really though. I was gonna do one of those today.
Oh no!
And I woke up.
Too much for this.
You woke up, and I was like,
2 hours ago.
Fuck. I was like, no, I'm not gonna try to do that shit. I still gotta go to my girlfriend's parents' place today, and I was like, no, I'll squeeze that in at a later date. Mm-hmm. So yeah, British occupies the area, and at this time, they are getting word of a potential attack in Bengal. So the East India Trading Company and a lot of the Britons in the area are like, they kind of just put their hands up. They're like, hey, we're not going to try to fight back because we're all tradesmen and we're not fucking like armored guards.
Yeah.
You will literally fucking kill us because you're the ones that are angry at us. So they kind of put their hands up, surrender, and they are taken prisoner. Now, these tensions and everything go over the course of, I think, like 5 years or so. And Warren and a lot of his co-workers are taken prisoner in 1756. They're held in what was known as, it was a pretty well-known prison, but it was called the Black Hole of Calcutta.
Jesus, what a name.
Yeah.
Badass.
Now, in this specific prison, a ton of people were reported to have died. In Warren's group. Like, Warren's group is brought in. It's 64 people. There's, like, no fucking room. I think it was, like, a 14 square foot fucking room. Or, like, it's 14 by 17. I don't remember the dimensions.
Small.
Very, very, very small room. 64 people are packed in there. And this is fucking India.
Yeah.
So it's hot as shit.
Colonial India, like
People fucking die of suffocation. Others are passing out from heat stroke and later dying. A lot of people just aren't getting fucking food and water. Of the 64 prisoners that are brought there, there was a surviving account that came out that said 43 of them died.
jeez.
There was another that was like, well, actually, it might have been only 18 died. And it's like, well, that's still a lot of fucking people that
that's
died.
still a lot of people.
And Warren actually manages to escape. He takes refuge at a nearby island and meets this woman, Mary Buchanan. Now, Mary's
What a
husband was one of those prisoners that died in Calcutta. And Warren is like, holy shit, that's crazy. We should get fucking married. And so Mary Buchanan becomes Mary Hastings. And yet, I mean, within a year, they get rescued by the Britons, and they live fucking happily ever after at the end. That's the whole episode. So Britain, over the course of that year, they go and rescue all of these people from this island, all these refugees from this island, and they work to gain back the trust of Bengal, because like this is a trade route that Britain is regularly utilizing, and like they desperately need it. I mean, in this fucking time period, this is when people are leaving Britain because it's getting a little out of hand, or people are leaving Britain because they're religious extremists and they want to go set up their own fucking place overseas where they don't have to pay taxes and they can live in the Americas and kick out all the indigenous people. So Britain is kind of in a weird spot where they're like, we can't fucking like, we need as many allies as we can get, especially if those allies are allowing us to utilize them as like a very affluent trade route.
Yeah, got to get those spices so that we can put it on our bread and beans.
So we can make
so we can not use
curry
them.
powder.
Yeah, but sell it to everybody else, but we don't use it in our food.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, it's they kind of work back in with Bengal. The East India Company is kind of able to set back up, and they kind of get a little bit more control and work relationships a little bit better. Now Warren, because he speaks so many different languages and because he has these really good connections with people, like the dude is just he's a silver tongue. He's good at this shit, man.
Charismatic.
He ends up getting promoted to a mediator position, and in most circumstances, when he's getting information from the Britons to tell Bengal what to do, he's like, I don't think that's a fucking good idea. He doesn't generally side with Britain's pushes and Britain's decisions on like, hey, Bengal needs to allow us to set up all of these shops and they need to pay us this and they need to allow us to do this. And he's like, dude, like that's just a bad deal for them. Why the fuck would I propose that? So he's very, very he's very like anti-Britain when it comes to their like colonizing pushes and trying to take two steps further than they really should when they're like, oh, we're compromising, but really they're just taking advantage of these people. And he speaks up about it fairly regularly. Yeah.
That's impressive for a man of his stature.
Yeah. He says that the East India Company's demands are way too harsh. And during his time served in this position, he actually ends up learning about the East India Company trade abuses, things that are happening behind the scenes that are just like the tradesmen that are working on the ship that are taking advantage of locals, that are taking advantage of local like traders, that are taking like they're fucking people out of like out of money, they're stealing goods and shit. He learns about a lot of this stuff. He learns about a lot of the fraud that's happening and under the table dealings. He actually discovers that there are customs officials that are getting paid off to sell illegal goods and shit. And he's fucking pissed. He's like, this is preposterous. Like, what? How the fuck do we continue to let this happen and then expect these people to still make dealings with us when, in all honesty, we're entirely fucking Bengal over? And so he speaks up about it, and he's basically just called like little bitch boy tattletale by all of his fucking cohorts. And around this same fucking time, the love of his life dies.
Oh.
And so he just throws his hands up in the air and he's like, you know what? Fuck it, I quit. So he leaves after, to preface that, he gets word that there's about to be like another big problem between Bengal and the East India Trading the East India Company.
I get that. I make that mistake all the time.
So he learns of like all these problems that are about to come up, which could potentially lead to an all-out war. And he's like, okay, I'm still working for this company. I'm in a position where if this happens, I am like up top. Like I'm working alongside
he's a target.
generals.
He's in the crosshairs.
I'm in a bad fucking position, and I don't technically side with the things that they believe in. So he sees all this shit, and he goes, fuck this, and just quits and goes back to Britain and avoids fucking all this shit. And so, in 1764, he gets back to Britain. Now, I don't know. I feel like he gets back to Britain, and from everything that I read, it kind of painted him in like this fucking idiot, like this fucking dumbass. It puts him in a really bad light. But in all honesty, like the dude had like his dream job, and he worked his way up from like literal poverty into a better position. He's standing up for the right side, and it's all just going to hell. And then his wife dies, and then there's a potential war that he avoids. So he gets back to Britain, and he ends up spending massive amounts of money. He accrues massive amounts of debt. At one point, he fucking hires like a painter to paint a portrait of him, and he just like basically like skirts out on paying him.
I love it. So he's spending his money on dumb shit?
Yeah, really, really, really frivolous stuff. Fancy clothes, fancy housing, and he can't afford any of it. He doesn't have a fucking job.
He doesn't have a job anymore.
Yeah. And on top of that, I would imagine that he probably was kind of living that level of life while he was in India, because, I mean,
his station.
Well, he's going to be paid a shit ton because he's in a higher position, and he's in India where, like, I can guarantee you, if he asks somebody to paint a portrait of him, like a really good Indian painter, they're going to be like, oh yeah, it's pennies on the dollar compared to what the fuck you're going to pay in Britain.
All the stuff that they're selling back to Britain haven't gone through the markup of transportation.
Yeah, exactly. And because they're just, I mean, the prices overall are just going to benefit Britain entirely. And so it's like,
yeah, it's a poorer area.
Exactly.
So yeah, 100%. It's like going to, I don't know, there are tons of places that American tourists go where they're like, I know in Cambodia, I heard stories of people who've gone to Cambodia to see like the temples and stuff, and they're like, here's $5, and they can almost buy out the inventory of a shop.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that travel to fucking, they'll go on like Thailand motorcades, and they'll basically go to Thailand, they'll get off the flight, they'll pretty much just buy a motorcycle for like $100 from some dude outside. It's kind of a piece of shit. They'll drive around all of Thailand. They don't have to worry about fucking paying for taxis or Uber or what the fuck ever, even if Uber's out there. Probably not. But, like, they have this just shitty little, like, moped. They drive around for their entire vacation. They get back to the airport. They're about to go on their flight, and they just sell it to the next fucking, the next dude coming off of a flight and go back home. And it's like, from everything that I've read, flying out to countries like that, it's like your biggest upfront cost, or the biggest cost is your flight. And then when you're there, you can get like 5-star hotels for like $30 a night kind of shit.
We gotta go. Research that.
Yeah, I
would love
really
to ride on the
fucking
back
need
of
to.
a moped with you.
Yeah, right. Good luck getting your arms around me. Just hold on.
Oh,
my
I can
love
reach.
handles.
I can reach, and I'll grab your tits.
Yeah, perfect.
I'll just grab your ass cheeks.
Good handles. Hold on to my balls.
One
hand each.
right over the front.
So yeah, he gets back to Britain, and I just feel like he didn't there's no way he didn't understand that there's such a massive difference in the goods that he's getting and what he's going to be paying for them. I honestly think a lot of it was just coping with the fact that his life is fully upended.
He's a stress shopper.
Yeah.
Same. I feel that.
Yeah. And so he gets back to Britain, goes fully broke, fully bankrupt, thousands of dollars in debt, and he fucking crawls right back to the East India Company 5 years later. And he's like, please,
can I have my job back?
Please fucking hire me. I loved India. Britain it's too expensive now.
It's too expensive for somebody who hasn't had a job in 5 years,
right?
Whose family squandered their wealth.
Yo, for real. And they're reluctant, but they end up taking him back. They're like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. You handled things well. You put us in a really solid position, and you speak multiple languages out there. Fuck it. They take him on. So on the trip back over, like I said, it takes about 6 months. This is where what was previously a bit of a political episode turns into a love story.
I was like, this is a political episode?
No, just him in the East India Company. So on his trip back over,
he meets Mary Buchanan.
No.
To the second.
No, he meets this fucking gorgeous woman. He gets on the boat, goes and sits down and looks over, and he's like, oh my fucking God, jaw dropper, Marian Imhoff. Now, Marian is just fucking classy as hell.
Auga.
Yeah. She's the stunner. Yeah, she's the stunner of the ship.
A woman on the ship?
Totally enamored.
That's bad luck.
Right? She dresses super well. She grooms really well. Probably washes her pits and her pussy, which is super weird for the time. And she loves, she has really elegant interests. She kind of just fucking gets it. And Warren is like, this is the fucking girl of my dreams, dude.
Thank God my ex-wife died.
Yeah. So she's 22 years old, and she has 3 kids. It's a lot of kids for 22.
That's a lot of kids.
He's 37 with no kids, which is a fucking perfect match, if you ask me.
Yeah.
15 years younger than you.
15-year difference? Perfect.
Yeah. And you don't have to be the father to these kids. They can fucking die for all you care in these next 6 months on the way to India.
Yeah.
Kick ass.
Just push them over the deck one a week. Nobody will say shit. Nobody will know.
Exactly. Yeah. She probably doesn't even want them.
Yeah. The witnesses are drowning. They're the kids.
Yeah. He writes a fucking book about how they meet one another. And he's just like, we're fucking star-crossed lovers, man. And they get along perfectly. She's crazy about him. He's crazy about her. And now they have 6 months on a boat to just get down and wild. The only downside,
there's no toilet paper and they have to shit off the deck. So
okay, that's another downside. The only other downside is that Marian Imhoff
Still married.
Yeah.
What? No, really?
Yeah. She's actually headed to India to be with her husband, Carl.
No, his name's Carl?
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
So-
I'm immediately... Have you seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
No, but I know exactly
Carl.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly what came into my mind. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to call it. I was just being a
I don't care.
shitlord.
You're good.
Oh, no.
So Carl...
So they're fingering on a ship on the way to meet her husband, Carl.
Yeah. And she's fairly open about it. She's like, hey, look, I have a husband. And he's like, fuck. Like, I understand. And Warren's handling it fairly well. Like, I'm going to be honest. So they get to India, and fucking Marion introduces Warren to Carl.
Woo.
Now, Carl is my favorite fucking idiot. Carl is he was born to a very, very affluent and rich family in Germany. Super successful family, borderline royalty. And Carl decides, I want to move to India to become a miniature painter.
In India.
In India.
Rather than where the actual market for that would be.
Yeah, so
Maybe I'm wrong.
Bro.
Maybe in Bengal there's a huge market during this time period for painted miniatures.
I don't know, but Carl is like, I want to be a painter. And because he's always been surrounded by daddy's rich yes men, they're like, we'll make it happen.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
You should go to India.
Now, word gets out to Carl. Well, I shouldn't say word gets out. Marion basically is just like, hey, Carl, Warren and I are crazy about each other.
Woo.
And Carl goes,
Can I still paint?
basically,
No.
Carl pretty much goes, okay, you guys can continue seeing each other under the table. Like, this can't be like a big, well-known public thing. Continue seeing one another. I don't really care. But because Warren works for traders, he needs to help me with my painting career.
What a cuck. Dude.
Yeah, he cucks it the
He's
fuck
a cuck.
up. Big time.
For his painting business, that's the only thing he gets out of it. And I get to watch. I get to watch anytime you're together if I want to. But you can't know I'm in the room.
So Warren goes, hey, look, man, I'm not going to push marrying her. I'm not going to push you divorcing her. I won't, push any of that. But as soon as you guys are divorced, I will marry her. But I'm not going to, push the note or anything. We're just going to see one another. We're going to be crazy about each other.
So he's never going to divorce her.
Yeah, and Carl's just like, okay, I mean, just as long as I'm a successful miniature painter, fuck yeah, sign me up.
So oh my God. So all this dude has to do to keep slanging that married puss is to just put a couple paintings in his shop.
To just fucking slay it with his dream girl, he just has to help out like a complete dipshit disabled painter.
Probably, yeah.
And
he'll probably
moron.
And he'll probably mark it up and make money off this too.
Oh yeah,
he's a
of
trader.
Course, yeah. I mean, he's a
God.
good dude. Like Warren up to this point, other than the slight affair that may or may not have happened on this ship, they approached Carl about it.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, look, we're kind of crazy about one another. And Carl goes, oh, actually, I like hanging out in the closet.
Yeah.
Warren could have just done this on the back end and not fucking done anything painter-wise and been like, yo, this guy sucks as a painter. I'm fucking good. And I'm going to keep banging his wife. So Warren's like, yeah, I'll help you out, man. I'll do what I can. I like to imagine that Carl is just the worst fucking painter on the planet.
Yeah, I'm imagining it's like crayons.
Yeah, it's
crayons on a canvas.
He brings Mary and he's like, oh, I painted a picture of our family.
And stick figures.
And it's like circle heads, square bodies and then like the snowman 3-fingered arms, and he's like, we are all holding hands and the sky is up at the top. He does that dumb thing where he just colors the top of the paper blue,
and does the sun like, in the corner.
That's what the sun is, like that's what the sky is. That's what it begins.
But he draws he draws himself in a closet in the background of the family holding hands. She's like, don't show the kids this one. Don't show the kids this one. All right, we'll put it on the fridge, but only when they're gone.
Oh, God. I'll keep it in my purse, but I will never look at it.
Yeah.
Also, it will be crumpled up and at the bottom. Yes.
Yeah. I like to imagine that he tried to do it in Germany. But yeah, he was super bad, but everybody around him was like, this is so good. They just don't understand it here.
Yeah.
So you got to go somewhere else.
Nobody buys it, and they're like, it's just not German art.
Yeah,
know?
This
They appeal to a more artistic taste, which is definitely in India. You should fucking leave.
They're like, the market is saturated here. You need to go somewhere else where you'll be seen, fresh eyes, and then they'll take it when they travel to the more civilized world.
Jesus.
See, what
Christ.
you're doing is in favor of your country. You're actually supporting your country by going to India, selling it to these people, and they'll want to move to Germany because they'll say, that's what German society is.
He's like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, Warren does his damnedest to help out Carl. He continues,
doesn't sell a single painting.
Yeah, he continues seeing Marion. And Warren's previous work as an ambassador / mediator / like politician / investigative journalist that he previously did with the East India Company kind of kicks him into the limelight, and he ends up becoming a more or less like British stand-in governor of Bengal.
So he's better off.
Yeah.
He went back home, got in super debt, crawled back to his previous employer and got a promotion.
Yeah. Crawls back to his previous employer.
It's a different
meets the
time.
girl of his dreams, and then is promoted to like the position of his fucking life.
And is allowed to cuck some dude.
And cuck some fucking German dude.
Which is what every Brit wants during this time period, is
right?
to cuck a German dude.
So since Carl is pretty much just doing like finger painting and crayon coloring,
he's doing it on the back of restaurant placemats. He's like, this is my painting.
Yeah. It doesn't pan out. It doesn't work out for Carl, and Carl sits these two star-crossed lovers down, and he says, hey, look, first of all, I appreciate you cucking me.
Thank you very much for allowing me.
I needed it. It didn't do anything for my art, but I don't think that can really get any better. And he says, Marion and I will be separating. I'm going to go back to Europe. We're going to divorce, and then you two just live the world of your dreams. I'm going to go try to find some German person that will cuck me instead.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to Daddy's fortune.
Yeah.
And find my own cuck.
So, yeah, Warren is just overjoyed. Like, fucking thrilled. Everything's working out. He only had to almost die and lose his job, go into thousands of dollars of debt.
Lose his first wife.
His first wife dies, and then his life finally fucking comes together.
It clicks.
It's
a Christmas miracle.
It works out.
It just works. Isn't that what Todd Howard says? It just works.
It just works. And yeah, he ends up getting married. But
does he take on the kids?
Probably, I would assume so. Hopefully, they just got sent back with Carl, because I mean they
That would be
they
great.
got half bad
That would
genes
be
and all.
yeah.
Half idiot genes. Might as well just send them back.
Yeah.
And they get married, and a bit of a scandal comes out. Like people are like, oh my God, like they were sleeping with one another. She just got a divorce, and they've been together for how many years? Wait a minute, what? So it's a bit of a discussion in the town, but overall everyone kind of comes to terms with it. They're like, oh yeah, like they're fit for each other. They're a happy couple.
That's really rare during this time period. So
so one day, while reading picture books, Marion sees a picture of a flower from the Amazon. And this specific flower, it like floats on top of the water, and it's got this like beautiful shape. It's this beautiful like purplish color. And she's just like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Is there a possibility, like from everything that I've read about this, it could live here in India? And Carl's like, or not Carl, sorry, Warren's like, yeah, I don't know, like maybe. So Carl, the next fucking day, goes to work, and he's just fucking like sending letters out to everybody. Do you know about this flower? Do you know about this flower? Do you know about this flower? All of the details. He's like, finally gets somebody that reaches out to him that's like, oh yeah, like I can send a couple of those over to you. And he's like, fuck yes. He's thrilled. So he gets his hand on one, and they don't send like a shit ton of them out. They just send a few of them out, and he's like, okay, this will be perfect. I want to put them in our like little pond, and I want her to wake up, and they should sprout within like 2 weeks or something. And she'll wake up and she'll see our pond with these beautiful flowers, and it'll make her day. I can do this fucking nice thing for her, because she's not a big fan of living in India, to be honest. She's only out here because Carl came out here, but now she's only out here because Warren works out here, and he's like, what? Like I'm a fucking governor. What the fuck? Like, what do I do this remotely? Like, no.
Yeah, no. There's no work from home.
Yeah, so he's like, I want to do this thing to like really, really fucking make her wake up every morning. She sees this thing, and she's happy. Like, oh, I'd love that. I love that Warren did this for me. I love that he did something more than just draw really bad pictures for me.
Yeah, on the back of the Chili's placemat.
Yeah. And it works. I mean, so let's see. In the late 1700s, this plant is sent out, and it's the water hyacinth. It's introduced to Bengal.
I've heard of the water hyacinth. Okay.
And when he puts it in the pond, it grows, and it blooms, and then it grows and blooms and grows and grows and grows and keeps growing
and spreads and spreads.
And she's amazed. She's like, this is fucking beautiful. I love this. But neither of them really lived long enough to understand like
what they actually
did. They fucking did here. So the problem with these specific flowers is that within the first 2 weeks of planting them, they will double in size, and they are literally just like water weeds. Water hyacinth aggressive. Is like one of the like hardest to control, like most invasive fucking plant species out there. It spreads like wildfire because of how dense and how quickly and heavily this grows. It clogs dams, streams, canals, any fucking waterway you can find. And then because it clogs those, it floods the other areas and then spreads further. Because it does that, it destroys rice fields. It destroys crops.
But you got to think local fish are being destroyed.
Yeah, so because of how thick it grows on top of the water, light can't get through to plants below, which when plants on the bottom of the fucking riverbeds and lakes and whatever, when those don't grow, bugs leave, fish die off. Like,
well, the fish can't even migrate in the ways that they used to be able to find food.
Completely destroys an ecosystem. And yeah, it just fucking kills everything in its path. It suffocates out other plants because of how like resource intensive it is, and because of how quickly it multiplies. And it's just it fucks up crop yield. It's just bad news. But at least it looked pretty for like 20 years while they were still both alive. It's bad. And the water hyacinth in Bengal is actually, it's what this episode was titled before I decided to change it. it was titled the Terror of Bengal because that's what they call the water hyacinth there. It's like
Is that destructive?
It plagues Bengal. Now, this entire story of how it was introduced, the affair of Marion Imhoff, it's also disputed that Germany brought it over during World War I. There are a ton of different instances similar to this that I'll get into later on in the episode, in just a little bit, about like instances where people were like, oh yeah, like this is a beautiful plant and it's still causing fucking problems. So we'll go back to Hastings really quick. Over the years, it has been discovered that because of the water surface coverage in Bengal, it actually significantly protects the waterways that it's in from pollution, which is a huge problem in India. Yeah. They discovered that the water hyacinth can actually remove chromium from crude oil.
What the hell?
Yeah. So it purifies
water. How do you
water.
even find that out? It purifies oil.
Yeah, it purifies so fucking well. It removes contaminants. It makes it so that like the water itself is fucking like better than Dasani. Like, I mean, every kind of water.
Everything's
You
better
drink
than
seawater.
Dasani.
It's
Are you
better than
shitting me?
Dasani.
You'd rather
But I
drink
mean,
out of a toilet tank.
Yeah, it turns a fucking like. It turns a river into smart water. Like, it's been impressive, the stuff that they've kind of discovered over the last few years.
Well, yeah, it's because there aren't any fish or plants in it to shit in it.
Yeah, because nothing can fucking contaminate, because nothing can fucking survive with how heavily this is in the water. So it's kind of like this backhanded, like, good but bad thing. Yeah. Right?
Destruction of an entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
Clean water.
And people are not necessarily in Bengal, but people are working to make paper and fabric from the water hyacinth. And in 2022, there's actually a big push to start trying to make organic fertilizer out of it, which I was like, that's cool, but no offense, taking a weed and trying to turn it into fertilizer is a bad fucking idea.
Yeah, you'd have to blast that bitch with radiation or something to activate the seeds. Like that's
it's a dangerous approach.
That's a dangerous, but all because some German dude want to be cucked.
Yeah,
that's like at least the third time in history that a major event has happened because a German dude was cucked. So, I'm looking at you, World Wars.
For real. Ultimately, Hastings goes on to lead a pretty successful political career. He does his best to repair the relationship between the East India Company and Bengal. He turns a ton of like Hindu beliefs into law, and eventually creates a more efficient currency system that benefits both the Bengalese people and the India Trading Company, hopefully more so the Bengalese people. And like, where is it? At one point during his time there, France was like, oh shit, Britain's fucked with the American Revolution. Let's go after India. They're going to be preoccupied. He makes like 2 military maneuvers, and it ends up opening peace talks between like he and French officials and him and like 2 other countries that are nearby that had tensions with Bengal. And he sits down and mitigates all of it. And they're like, yeah, you know what? Like, let's not fucking do this. And does all these peace talks. Like, the man is he just kind of gets it. And it works out really well for him.
You know what happened? It seems like he has some form of empathy.
Oh, he started getting laid.
He started getting laid, which caused him to develop empathy. And
ultimately,
something that is very rare in British governors at the time period.
Like,
he'd be able to empathize with the locals.
He did. He was like such an advocate for Indian culture. And let's see, he actually was credited with like countries kind of saw colonizing or like not colonizing in India, but like making peace talks with India or working with India instead of just being like, oh yeah, like let's just go knock all their doors down and
This is ours
set
now.
up shop.
Yeah.
Instead, they would learn the language, and if they like went into India with the customs that the people knew there, they were like, okay, it's way easier to make like deals with them doing these things, and a lot of that is attributed to Hastings himself. Now, when he got back to Britain in 1785,
And he left his hyacinth garden intact when he left, right?
Of course, yeah, because
It was too late.
yeah,
by
they
then,
didn't
I'm
need
sure.
it anymore. Yeah, the entire fucking estate was covered
It was
in
just
them, I would
covered.
assume.
Yeah.
So yeah, he resigns in 1785, goes back to Britain. Britain is like, you're impeached, because some dude comes forth with like all these fucking allegations against him. They're like, Hastings tried to fucking kill me in a duel, and Hastings is like, what the fuck are you
Who are
talking
you?
about? Yeah, basically. Just like trying to slam his fucking name. And
his name was Carl. He spoke with a German accent. He realized that they were having sex this whole time.
No, it was the dude's name was Carlo Mihoff.
Yeah, Carlo.
So he ends up beating all of these accusations. He's found fully innocent, but it like completely bankrupts him again.
Oh, of course.
And it took like 7 years for the trial. He actually came out and he was like, I should have just said that I was guilty to him, because like then the time that I would have served in prison wouldn't have like completely destroyed my life.
He wouldn't have lost all the money.
Yeah, and then Parliament was like, okay, sorry about that. We'll pay you like $4,000 a year. Cool.
Yeah, all right.
Cool, thanks.
A pittance.
Yeah. He died in 1818, but like I said, he left a very heavy impression on how the world should approach working with India rather than just occupying and killing India. And he also taught the world not to introduce foreign plants to a new place just so that you can get fucking laid.
I don't think the world learned that.
No, they didn't. So in 1884, this is another instance. And these are just quick little blurbs about the water hyacinth. In 1884, the World Fair took place in New Orleans, and there were some Japanese gardeners there that were like, oh, like, here's this beautiful flower, and they were just giving the water hyacinth out to people.
Oh, no.
This one lady took it and decorated her fish pond with it in Florida. And
now Florida is the way it is.
Fully led to, like, that is entirely attributed to what she did, which she put this hyacinth in her pond, it covered it, and then she was like, oh shit, we need to clean these up. So while they were cleaning them out
Just shovel
and
them.
clearing it,
Thunk.
it ended up like, I guess just a few stems or a few fucking seeds got into the St. James or the St. John's River, and it is fully taken over it. And like the St. John's River prior to all of this was used regularly, and now it is fully covered by water hyacinth. In 1904, it was released into the Sacramento River by somebody that was like, I love plants, that didn't know anything about fucking
About
plants.
ecology or anything.
Yeah. And now, literally 2024, it costs, so well over 100 years later, 120 years later, it still costs the state of California $6.5 million per year battling water hyacinth. A lot of people attribute their droughts and everything to problems that the water hyacinth have caused in like dams and reservoirs. It's a
And
bad
just being
fucking plant.
resource intensive.
Yeah,
No, it's a great plant in its natural habitat.
Yeah, in its natural habitat, exactly.
Or
Elsewhere,
inside.
it will fucking destroy everything.
But if you need to get rid of that water plant, you need to burn it.
Yeah, so we should get water hyacinth tattoos.
Yeah, I think we should.
I'd be down.
Yeah, my cousin started doing tattoos.
We'll just get fucking one every month.
Every season.
Until we're fully covered.
Yeah. Perfect.
We'll get it over the top of other tattoos and shit.
Oh, yeah. Over the face.
Yeah, right?
Everywhere, yeah.
So, yeah, don't fuck with the terror of Bengal.
Yeah.
Be careful out there.
Don't cuck a German. Just in case.
If you're gonna flower bomb somebody's fucking house or front yard,
use a water hyacinth.
Use local seeds. There are websites that will provide you with local seeds that you can use to fucking just spread all over the place, which I think is phenomenal.
But it's too late for us here in America. Because you know those boat stops when you're like going into another state, or if you're going around like a large body of water, they make you stop and pull over, and you have to get your boat inspected if you have one.
That's what they're looking for.
They're looking for seeds and
shit.
certain animals, certain invasive algae and stuff like that. Because the same thing will happen with certain algae. They'll just get into the water and just
crazy,
bloom and destroy everything. Even though in their natural habitat, they're kept at bay because they have a predator of some sort or some type of competition.
Man, we need to have more like ecological terrorism episodes.
Oh, dude, the 70s?
There are a ton, yeah.
Let's do it. I love eco-terrorists. We'll do a Ted Kaczynski episode, everybody's favorite terrorist.
So yeah,
he got some things right. I'm going to say that. Not the bombing, but some of his philosophies make sense. If you're an edgelord.
Be careful what you're planting if it's from a different country.
Yeah, do not bring oranges in from another country. It's a huge deal.
All right, well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. patreon.com/points-o-pressure. If you guys would like an exclusive episode every single month, which we've got one coming out this coming week.
Is that my episode?
It's mine.
Okay.
Maybe next week it'll come out. It
Bonus
usually
episode.
comes out the first day of every month, month late.
Let's get better at it this season.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot. There's a handful of, or actually not a handful. There's a good amount of sloppy seconds up there. A lot more recent stuff during our break. We had exclusive sloppy seconds that were going on. So by all means, go to our Patreon, check that out. AJ's working on a series called Voices. Just click around on there. We also have a free tier that we will be releasing future exclusive episodes on for a limited amount of time. So just make sure you have a free account on Pressure Point's Patreon, and that will allow you to listen to it when it comes up. That way you're not scrambling to create an account the last fucking day that it's available.
Yeah.
You got those names?
I just tabbed away.
Oh, I saw that. That's okay.
No, I got them. They're right here. Just got to move my microphone. So we've got the board, Mini D and Toddle Waddle. Thank you guys so much. I had something witty to say and I lost it. And then, of course, we've got Abby, AJ's Third Nut, Kitty Titties, Nordic Thunder, Thomas, Weston, Dark Runner, D's Nuts, G-Dog, Hayden, Laura Revo, and Lindo. Thank you guys so much for being here, supporting us, bringing us in. New season.
Yeah.
New season, new me.
Yeah, we're fucking here, man. We really do appreciate you guys supporting us. We wouldn't be where we are today. Also, go check out our fucking new subreddit, reddit.com/r/pressure points. We got the fucking name, so.
We did.
Yeah, go find it.
If you want to talk about this episode after you listen to it,
episode discussion will be
comment under
live.
that post.
Yeah, we are doing our best to keep those pinned at the top of the subreddit. So it's all new to us. So if you have any suggestions,
I don't think it's pinned.
No, it is. I pinned it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I've been doing it.
Nice. Yeah. I'm going to be posting some more 1930s thirst traps.
Yeah, by all means, check it out. And if you guys ever have any recommendations for music, TV shows, movies, articles, fucking anything that you can find, memes, goofy videos, shit that's pertinent to our show, by all means, reach out to us. Feel free to contact us on Instagram at points_pressure. Like I said, go to Reddit or email us at ppdnaj@gmail.com. It's all the letters. And feel free to catch us next fucking week.